Why I been talking all of that shit, but you don't run up with no crib. You just talking cause you got lips, little nigga. I pull up with a stick, try to run up, shoot him in his hip. If he ain't done up, empty out the clip.
School, the students congratulated the graduates from the nearby high school where this young man attended and failed to graduate. And apparently he had an argument with his grandmother, which, potentially led to her, being shot. So there's a lot of layers. It's like an onion.
Well,
there's a lot of layers to
people
that
have
story.
a lot of people have suspicions here, but there's one thing that is very, very clear that's not up for suspicion. In this society, you have been conditioned by the environment to make the assumption that if you're white, there's only one way you resolve issues. You don't ask. You don't talk. You take what you want. And what I'm saying is we spent years now, I did my program about that years ago, about what the gun means and what the gun represents. Dr. Francis Cress Welsing has talked about what the gun means and what the gun represents. These young folk got the message. They got the message loud and clear. What the gun means, what the gun represents, what it represents for them. They got the message loud and clear. That the gun is power. The gun is the way to get the society's attention. The gun is the way to express your frustration. The gun is the way to shut down dissent and argument. The gun is the way. That's what they've been taught. Now, black people, particularly black teenagers, are taught if you're even near one in an open carry state, if you are black, you'll be targeted. These other folks here, like I say, they have a gun culture. They come from places where the guns are encouraged. But what I'm saying is, okay, if the guns are encouraged, you have to encourage it against somebody. There has to be somebody you're encouraging it against. And these, as I've shown you from what the mayor was doing there, I have a suspicion what they were thinking. I have a suspicion where some of their concerns were leaning. And you can't raise your children in that environment to think that at any time, if you need to use a gun to solve a problem, you go for it. I made a post on Twitter where I said, black people would be perfectly fine in a world without guns. If they outlawed guns, we'd be perfectly fine with it because we never needed them. The Europeans needed the guns. Black folk, we don't need the guns. Just ask all the greatest fighters in history. Go ask any of the black kids, even the minority at the school. They don't need firearms. It's the colonizing society that needs that. They've always needed that. And they still do to this day. So what this tells you is it's a mental thing. It's a psychological thing. That gun represents much more than a gun. It represents dominance. It represents power. It represents control. And if you can't get it what you're looking for there, you go somewhere else. He shoots grandma in the face. So what does that tell you? Mommy issues. If you have a problem, you can handle it however you want to. The gun. I mean, it's like a religion. It's really self-explanatory. So I hear all those other things people are saying, but let's be very, very clear. In a society where they cheered George Zimmerman, celebrated Kyle Rittenhouse, the message got through. The message got through is what I'm telling you. To the young people out there in the dominant society, to the white kids, and that includes the white Latinos, the message got through to them. If you have an issue with anybody, if you have a problem, you might want to pick up a gun. That'll help you. Thank you very much for giving us a call. That'll help you.
Shout out to Judd, who sent me the message. I saw it. I saw the notification popped up, and I watched the clip of the Black Authority because I usually don't go over there. The titles he has are interesting, but the videos are way too long for me. You talking 2.5, 3 hour shows. So I read your comment and you said the Black Authority doubled down on the whole black people don't need guns, which is basically the same thing that Professor Black Truth said in his podcast, or his video. Same thing. They're on the, I know they fuck with each other, but they're on the exact same shit. They're on the black people don't need guns because there's two things going on here. One, we are going to defeat white supremacy with black girl magic. Fucking eyes roll. And then the second thing is all the moral compass bullshit, right? Because white people and white supremacy are evil, and somehow we're going to discuss transforming their behavior, despite the fact that they just sit up there and talk about white people like dogs. I'm like, I don't know how this is going to transform their behavior, but they just keep talking to black people about white supremacy. And this dives into exactly what I said in my previous videos and what Amos Wilson addressed about the whole problem with black people getting stuck in basically it's like a boot loop, if you ever had your phone do a boot loop where it just kind of keeps loop, your Apple phone or your iPhone or whatever, just keeps looping around and whatnot. But anyway, yeah, they're just stuck in a loop. They're just, all they want to do is identify white supremacy, call it out, say that it's evil, but yet they are no closer to actually defending themselves from white supremacy. I mean, the Black Authority literally went up there, and you can go, I'll give you the minute mark. It's 1 hour and 3 minutes. And that's where he starts talking about the guns, and the lady calls in, and then the guy calls in, and they're talking about guns for a while. He basically, before, when he responded to, I think, the first guy, or was it a woman? Either way, he responded to one of the callers and was just basically saying that, black people, they don't need guns, because, we have boxers and fighters. Just ask a black fighter. I'm like, huh? What does that have to do with black people responding to white people with guns who want to kill them? I don't the nonsense. And this again, I know that they're not senile. They're not like boomers, but they're in that fucked up middle ground, of black people who like to be stroked, and they're kind of churchy. Both of them are arrogant as fuck. Both of them don't like to be corrected. Both of them got all the answers. Let them tell it. But the shit that they're saying doesn't make any sense. It has no practical application. To talk about white people and their gun culture and how they want to dominate and how they want to do. Okay, how are you going to stop them from dominating? Again, they think they're going to be standing out there with the Captain Planet Mateo ring going, heart, motherfucker, heart. They think, again, it's this bullshit. The black Christians do the same thing. They sit there and they act like displaying or professing how morally superior you are to white people, that makes you a better human being, and that somehow brings you closer to not only defeating white supremacy, but making it so that white supremacy doesn't affect you. It's a childish way of thinking, and black people eat it up. He's got old black women calling the show. I ain't gonna have that. Not with all my profanity and cursing shit out, because I keep it real. I keep it a buck. I have an intimate relationship with reality. You know what I mean? Some shit is about to go down, and it's like, if you can't handle the reality of what I'm talking about, then you need to sit in the back. You know what I'm saying? To be able to defend yourself against white supremacy takes real preparation. But a lot of black people, they just want to sit up there and they want to, just pontificate and intellectually masturbate about it and talk about how we don't need any guns. Yeah, that would be nice if we had some powers like X-Men and shit, and you could use, freaking telepathy and you could, bend metal and you had claws like Wolverine and you healed, and you had a skeleton made of adamantium, and you controlled the weather and had laser beams come out of your eyes like Cyclops. If you could do all that shit that the X-Men do, I would agree 100% with you. This is the same bullshit argument I had with Mr. Holopsism years ago. You know what I mean? And even Thug Titian caught that shit and was like, nigga, like you talking about Magneto. Magneto, he didn't back down from anything. And I don't even think at the time he realized that Magneto's character was based off of Malcolm X. But he was making this reference about I'm a bootlicking Negro and Magneto, and he doesn't fold. He was basically explaining X-Men to me like I didn't understand X-Men when I was a child of the 90s when that shit was on television, right? I was watching that shit as a kid, like crazy. So he's trying to explain the shit, and he's like, "You're a Magneto," and I'm like, oh, I'm like, yeah, but Magneto has powers, my guy. You talking about black people resisting this, that, and the third, but I'm like, yeah, Magneto can say fuck this and fuck that because Magneto has powers. We're human beings. We have to have a structure. I think that's what we were talking about. Like, you got to have a structure and organization and everything because he was on, at the time, he was on some, to be so pro blackity black that basically everything that you would need was Eurocentric. And so it was like nothing you could touch is Eurocentric. Hell, if you wanted to live in a suburb, the concept of the suburb was Eurocentric. I was like, damn, I'm just trying to have black people live the same way. Well, see, brother, that's what your problem. I'm like, damn, I can't even have a black, nice, affluent suburb with kids riding around with their freaking, one wheels and BMX bikes and mongoose bikes and skateboards and shit. I can't even have that. No, brother, that whole concept is Eurocentric. Like, it was just stupid. It was just dumb. But anyway, again, black people are magical as fuck. And many of the black people that you listen to, that they're black leaders and everything, they're magical. Like it never ceases to amaze me. Like it's like a magical sandwich. You know what I mean? Where like the bread on the top, like the top layer, like as you go down, everything is kosher, right? As you go down, right? You got the bread, you got the tomato, you got the lettuce, right? Everything's cool, all of it makes sense. And then they get to the middle part of the sandwich, and it's just magic. It's just pure magic. It's pure, we're looking out of our third eye, pyramids of Egypt, vibrating at higher frequencies, and then making these grandiose statements. Black people have always ... right? Black people have always been resilient. Black people have always resisted white colonialism. Black people have always, just all this great fucking grandstanding and bullshit, and it's just baseless shit to make black people feel great. And that's what gets the likes, that's what gets the clicks. Everybody's like, oh, they're so pro black, I learned something today. Because most black people out here are simple minded. They don't think in like simple terms. Like, okay, you got a bunch of white supremacists running around. I don't give a fuck about like how they process information or what their pathology is, right? They're dangerous, right? If they're the white supremacists running around and they hate black people for whatever, I don't give a fuck about the mathematics on how they're thinking and how they're operating and all that. I don't give a fuck. All I know is when they come over here, I'm prepared to deal with their bullshit. You know what I mean? Don't start none, won't be none. You know what I mean? Like they get all into the weeds, of the shit. I'm not saying don't examine them and how they do things if you're going to counter it. Again, same thing that Amos Wilson said. You know what I mean? But to sit there and just admire the problem and just to stand there and feel morally superior, to white people is stupid. Oh, they're evil and the power of the gun, and they have to have guns and they need guns. So, they're weak and we don't need guns. I'm like, again, where's the practical application? If a white boy shows up and he's got a gun and black people are standing there, black people, the smart ones, are going to run. Okay, it's not a matter of our our melanin. Our melanin will somehow reflect the sunlight that's glistening off of our sweat and blind the attacker. Because so he can't shoot us because he can't see us because of the greasy chicken grease melanated sweat that's on our chest. Like you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, just stupid shit. Or the bullets, they won't harm us because all our sweat,
will is like baby oil, and the bullets will hit us and slide off of us because we're so sweaty and greasy, because that is what it is to be a true Afro-Asiatic king. Like nonsense, man. That's what these motherfuckers doing. That's why I give more credit to like the NFAC, even though they had a lot of bullshit going on, with guys out there with 22s, Grandmaster Jay out there with the fucking airsoft body armor. Like, ugh, like, yeah, there was a lot of dumb shit in there. The bolt goes home, the weapon has fire. This is fucking dumb shit. But I'm saying at least they were like headed in the right direction. You know what I'm saying? At least they had a concept of self-defense. Like again, to instill the same fear, or the same, you might want to think about it before you come over here with that fuck shit. And this is why street culture wins. I mean, this is 100% why street culture wins. I mean, they don't play that shit. But all your pro blackity black blacks and all your people that are, basically derivatives and byproducts of the black church. You know what I'm saying? See, I never grew up in that shit. I wasn't a part of that shit. So I don't carry any of that bullshit with me. You know what I mean? I hear something, I go, man, that's some bullshit, and I move the fuck on. I don't have this shit where it resonates with me and all, like again, like I said, the self-help books and the freaking shit that people get out of Christianity is the same exact thing. Hope, comfort, and inspiration. Those are the three things that people get. And when it comes to a lot of these black gurus, and I hate to say it because I like their content, but Black Authority and Professor Black Truth, same fucking bullshit. Same churchy bullshit. Hey, they want to make money. They want to get the bag. Hey, get the bag. All that shit. But to sit there and tell black people they don't need guns and they don't need to be armed, and then then like Professor Black Truth is up there talking about power tools, and then the Black Authority, like if you listen even further, a guy calls in from New York, and that was another thing, right? Because and he did point it out, and I'll give him credit for that. A lot of the people that call in are from New York, and they have a very New York mentality on guns. They've been totally brainwashed. It's like they sit there and all they do is watch MSNBC all day, like all day, every day. They have no other perspective. And Black Authority appropriately checked him and called him out on that, because he's like, he's talking assault weapons bans, but all the crime in New York is done with handguns. And you guys have all the goofy gun laws that you want, and crime is still sky high. And, people are leaving and going to the South and everything else like that. One of the number one things people love when they're in the South, because I was in the South, is they love the freedom and the ability to be able to protect yourself. Hey, you want to get something to eat late night? Fuck it. Let's go. Let's go late night. Am I really worried about somebody running up on me? No, I'm not worried about somebody running up on me. Because I got my shit on me. My man next to me in the car got his shit on him. You know what I'm saying? So we just sitting there munching down a Taco Bell at freaking, 11:30 at night. You know what I mean? Not worried about it. You know what I mean? Laying in the cut, sitting in some tinted shit. Do you want to run up on a tinted whip? I doubt it. On top of that, in a state where that 50% of the time people are going to be strapped, especially black people. You know what I mean? So a lot of they don't sound. I mean, I think the Black Authority, he comes from like Mississippi or something. The Professor Black Truth, I don't know where he comes from, but it's very black people from the Northeast. And every time I see a black face on television, I already know their position on guns. That's how fucked up it is. It's just like what we talk about with black people voting Democrat. It's automatically assumed. And when you see a black person on television and the topic is guns and they're on some fucking panel, especially if they're a black woman, you already know what they're going to say. You know what I mean? And if they do say, well, I think people shouldn't be able to have a handgun to protect themselves, you know that they're not going to co-sign having a rifle, even though the rifle is the most effective means to have. You know what I'm saying? Like all that shit, white supremacists running around in the South and burning shit on people's crosses. How long is your driveway? If you out there in the countryside, or you out there where in the big open spaces, you want a fucking rifle. You do not want a handgun. I mean, just the nonsense. On top of the fact that if you've ever had multiple attackers who are all armed, if I got 3 guys or 4 guys and they all got handguns, I want an AR-15 with as many rounds as I can have. Typically a 30-round magazine or a 60-round drum. I want one of them. Plain and simple. So you guys live in a fantasy world. And it's so sad. It's so sad because black people ain't ready. They ain't ready for war. They ain't ready for conflict. They're not even ready for self-defense, self-preservation. You know what I mean? Like they're just not. They're not. They're out here just thinking that all this moral posturing fucking means something and somehow puts them in a better position. And like Dr. Hendrik Clark said, they really think that white supremacy is going to dismantle its entire apparatus simply because black people cry and whine enough to make them feel guilty. And so they're going to dismantle their whole apparatus. It's still going to be white supremacy. It's still going to be white people on top. Every time black people gain a little bit of ground, they feel some type of way. I mean, and sometimes it's the illusion of gaining ground. Even the symbolic shit that doesn't really mean anything that the Democratic Party does for black people, white people lose their shit. They lose their shit. They get, well, why can't we have white entertainment television? You know what I'm saying? Why is there a Black History Month? That sounds a little racist to me, right? Real history is somehow critical race theory, right? They get triggered on this shit. It's okay to be white, all that bullshit. So, I'm just saying, when it comes to the white supremacists, the Richard Spencer types, that think that we're supposed to rule. Those octoroons, they're beneath me and all that bullshit. You got to realize the type of hate that you're dealing with. Okay. Some of you need to go back and you need to listen to that Richard Spencer clip over and over and over again and understand what you're dealing with. And then come talk to me about how we don't need guns. Dumb shit. I mean, tactically stupid type of shit. What nation out there that's trying to make sure that it is not a subject to the authority or dominion of another nation is running around not trying to ensure that it has the best technology and the best tools to thwart the enemy, if not to maintain a dominant position. I mean, and this is sad because, like, the other thing I noticed between the Black True Professor and freaking the Black Authority, both of them act like being in the dominant position is a bad thing. They act like imposing your will on other people is a bad thing. Again, what is with the good and evil bullshit? The whole thing is about winning. You know what I mean? If black people ruled the world and it was Wakanda and all that other shit and whatnot, I can assure you we wouldn't be sitting around seeing shit as evil and wrong. We would be running around talking about our rightful place. No different than white people are right now. Quiet as it's kept. Black people love to morally posture and act like, oh, well, we not like this and we not like that. Maybe not. You know what I'm saying? Because, you go and you look at Africa and whatnot, and, all they got to do is just fly over Africa and just drop off weapons. And you say it's not the weapon. The weapon doesn't make anybody do anything. It's the person, it's the people, it's the culture. But yet you see all the conflicts in Africa. You see the dictators that come to power. Motherfuckers up there, 90 years old, doesn't want to give up power on some Idi Amin type ship or freaking Robert Mugabe. You know what I'm saying? Like they up there, they just want to be president forever, change the laws to be president. Like they're like the African version of Xi Jinping. You know what I'm saying? Like so to sit there and act like there's just no fucked up shit that black people can engage in part and participate in. That there's no universal human concept. Like, that's just a lie. I mean, hell, we see this bullshit with our own women when we talk about the gender war and the gender dynamic and everything. Once the black woman is making enough money where she doesn't have to be dependent on your ass, she wants to want shit. They talk about running shit all the time. That's the crazy thing. Black men are always running around talking about like how power is just disgusting and that we should have an aversion from it and everything. But black women are always talking about getting the bag, having more power, controlling niggas. Niggas can't tell me what to do. I'm a boss, bitch. I'm running shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm in the lead. I'm in first place. Right? I mean, how ass backwards is the black community? And here you got two prophetic black men who get up there and they want to be the leaders of the black community, and all they do is talk about how having power is evil. It's the evil. See, we're not like that. We're not. We have no desire to control any other group of people. We have no desire to impose our will on any other group of people. I mean, again, maybe they're playing wizard chess. I don't fucking know. But it sounds pretty goddamn weak when you really look at it and you look at our position, and then we're just so anti-power. Just like I talk about us being so goddamn anti-money. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, the shit just, like I said, with the BGS bullshit, I'm like, it ain't in the budget. It ain't in the budget. People want to talk about correcting shit in the black. All that shit costs money. I said the same thing with Dr. T. Hassan Johnson. Made a video, him talking about black men dropping out of college and everything. And why were they dropping out of college? Lack of fucking money. They couldn't afford to go. So they had to drop out. And I'm like, what the fuck? What don't y'all niggas get about the freaking black men not being in a position to provide for not only to be head of household, but also to provide for their goddamn their kids, especially their sons. And then their sons are supposed to go out there and compete with other races of men who ain't on the dumbass bullshit that BGS was talking about. Immigrants come here, they get busy with it, and then they get in first place, and then it's all about the fucking money. But he wants to stay in a state of immigrant status. You know what I'm saying? And again, this all goes back to, the black men being cheap and whatnot. And sometimes I look at black women and I'm just like, what the fuck did y'all do, man? You know what I mean? Because it would be one thing if black women, if every time I talk to black women or caught black women, they were always encouraging black male, empowerment and black men being ahead because they knew that ultimately it would benefit them. But that's not what I see. That's not what I see from childhood all the way into adulthood. All I see is them being convinced that, power in their hands doesn't mean anything. Wealth in their hands doesn't mean anything. Resources in their hands doesn't mean anything. Controlling shit is evil. They always want to talk about some 50-50 egalitarian shit, right? Not because they really believe in it, because they don't want to have to, subscribe to patriarchy, follow a man, live up to his expectations, but they damn sure want all the benefits from the shit. I'm not going to put all of that on sisters, but a lot of it is on sisters when you really sit down and you look at the way that these women are raising these boys. You know what I mean? And then the women will say, oh, where the man at? Where the man at? And I'm like, don't ask me where the man at when you went out there and you got with a Dusty to where if he was even to show up today, he would have nothing to even offer his sons or his daughters. Don't sit there and talk about bringing some man at that literally has nothing to offer. You know what I mean? He's not going to get his shit together in 5 years because he just ain't built like that. That's who you had a baby with. Again, when we talk about community shit, you know what I'm saying? Natural selection matters. Who you get with matters. You can't be out here, doing, reverse Darwinism and think that you're going to be able to compete against a group of people that are doing actual Darwinism, that are doing actual, natural selection. And you're over here doing reverse natural selection. Like that's retarded. That's retarded. Like the black men didn't get to be some of the biggest and mandingo's strongest physically, men in the world, off of nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I'm like, if we can do that, then we can naturally select in some other areas as well. Although then again, some people will argue, well, slavery, it was white people who did that because they were trying to make, super slaves. Yeah, that happened as well. You know what I mean? But I mean, damn, man, it's just the magic is retarded. I mean, both of them on the black people don't need AR-15s and guns, and that somehow co-signing the disarmament. And first off, and these guys, they don't even like black people voting Democrat. But then when it comes to gun control, they become one issue voters and then encourage black people to go out there and vote Democrat. It's like, you know what I'm saying? Like there's so many issues that you can vote for, right? But here we are, white kid goes and shoots up, mass shooting, and then you got the one in Texas, and that's really not even close to the majority of what affects the black community, which is inner city gang violence, narco economy, handguns. And black people are all over it, and we're talking about it like this is a primary concern for us. We don't want to harden soft targets. Nobody wants to talk about that. States like New York, people can't even defend themselves. Carjackings happening all over the place. Same in LA, right? So people are just out there with nothing but their ass. You know what I mean? And we got this coward shit that goes on where, you can't even begin to have a discussion about people defending themselves. This shit has already happened in Philadelphia. I could pull up the clips. Just type in cab driver, Uber driver defends himself, Philadelphia. It'll come up. This happened within the last 6 months. You know what I'm saying? Like they that whole trying to carjack, and a couple of them got smoked. And when that shit hits the news, you know what I mean? They think about that shit twice. They're like, man, yeah, when citizens shoot back, carjackers are like, man, maybe we shouldn't be doing this shit anymore. Maybe we should, you should find another hobby. I mean, it's just like black. I mean, if this is the rhetoric, I mean, black people have. I mean, what is this fair fight bullshit anyway? As well, right? If I was to clean up a neighborhood and go up against Pookie, I'm going out that bitch with some body armor and some plate carrier, and there's going and an AR-15, and there's going to be 6 or 7 other brothers with me. I'm not trying to have a fair fight with Pookie. Pookie gonna see all them guns and be like, oh shit. Oh, them motherfuckers got laser beams, night vision goggles, fucking tactical lights and all other type of shit. Oh, I would be using every tactical advantage. Motherfuckers be like, oh, they had a raid. No, we only raid at night, and we all got night vision. You know what I'm saying? That's how you do some shit. But this crap, like to act like this like black men, like the way that we handle shit in the black community and white supremacists, that you're supposed to be a old cantankerous black man standing on the porch with a shotgun, looking like what is that shit, Black Snake Moon or whatever, Snake Moan. That movie with Samuel L. Jackson where he got that white girl in chains and shit and just trying to keep her celibate and whatnot. Like, you supposed to look like that. You supposed to look like a black man looking like Samuel L. Jackson, standing on the porch with a shotgun, and that's going to intimidate not only white supremacists but the thug ass gangbangers in your neighborhood and shit. Like it's some 1990s Spike Lee movie. Like, that's what y'all, like, these niggas are just like, they're so behind the times. It's not even funny, man. It's not even funny. But this is what we have. Like, this is our black leaders, ladies and gentlemen. Our black leaders, ladies and gentlemen. Like, this is what it is. This is what it is. And unfortunately, they have everybody's ear. I don't have everybody's ear. You know what I'm saying? I don't even have YouTube partnership, none of that shit. They got everybody's ear. They got more subs and likes and followers and views and shit like that. Again, I'm only going to keep it real with you. I'm not going to give you no fluffy Care Bear shit that's supposed to inspire you and raise your spirits. No, we talk about the ugly realities over here. And if you can't handle the ugly realities, then you need to go over there and listen to them tell you about how we're going to stop white supremacy's guns with black girl magic. You go over there and deal with that. But over here, we talking real shit. So I mean, it just, y'all kill me with the crap, man. Y'all kill me. Anyway, that's all I got to say. That's my video, SWP out.
Why I been talking all of that shit, but you don't run up with no crib. You just talking cause you got lips, little nigga. I pull up with a stick, try to run up, shoot him in his hip. If he ain't done up, empty out the clip.